Welcome to the Ambitious Introvert Podcast, created especially for introverts, empaths, and highly sensitive entrepreneurs to help you build, grow, and scale a successful, sustainable business. I'm your host, Emma-Louise Parks, business and mindset coach for ambitious introverts. After 17 years working as an air traffic controller, the ultimate fast-paced, high-stimulus, extrovert-friendly role, my mission now is to show introverts that they too can create big results and success because of who they are, not in spite of it. I focus on introvert-friendly business and marketing strategy to help you switch overwhelm for clarity, confidence, and clients. Hi, welcome to this solo episode of the Ambitious Introvert Podcast. I'm Emma-Louise, and I'm going to give you a very brief roundup of what has been going on here at the Ambitious Introvert and with me in the month of April. Now, I don't know if it's because April's a short month, but I just went through my calendar and I look back at my journal and I'm like, I don't feel like that much happened. So, as I say, it's going to be brief, but I'm going to share it with you anyway. It's not that much of a surprise because I spent most of March in launch mode, so I very intentionally carved out time in April to decompress and relax from that. And I always knew it wasn't going to be such a heavy month in the business. But it's just amazing to look back because I go through and make some notes before I record these episodes. And I was like, that was pretty chill. So there's your permission slip. If you like to schedule some months that are more chill than others, it's absolutely necessary. And it's really good to look back on. So there you go. Now, something that was a challenge in April was tech issues here with broadband particularly. There was a huge outage here in the UK with the provider that I use over the space of a week. And there were a couple of days where it was barely on at all. And of course, this just happened to be when I had scheduled to batch record the podcast. I had 4 guests each day, I think, over the course of the 3 days that it was worst affected. So a couple of the episodes we did manage to record. They will need some significant editing, but some of them we just scrapped because it just wasn't even worth it. And, you know, it really did affect the flow of the episode. And I realized how much I love that the podcast is just organic and we just have a chat with the guests. So yeah, I've rescheduled some of those because I just didn't want it to keep cutting out. And also, I'm mindful of people's time. If people are taking the time and effort to be a guest on the podcast, I want them to have a good experience. So literally the worst 3 days of the month that it could have been for broadband to go down. But hey ho, it happens. So a little bit behind schedule as such with batching the podcast. But of course, the great thing about batching means that I am already recorded up to probably about June already. So it's not a big deal. Also, the Academy kicked off this month. This is the last live cohort that I will be running of the Ambitious Introvert Academy. I am updating all of the resources in there, all of the videos, everything for it, and giving it a facelift because they're all over a year old. And it feels really good. I'm moving everything away from Google Sheets onto Notion, which is much more user-friendly. And people are loving. So that feels great to get that all sorted. And I'm also moving it over into a new home. Everything within the Ambitious Introvert is going to be living on Circle very soon. So all of the courses, groups, etc. Circle's a really great community building software. I've been really enjoying playing with it and setting it up for the Academy. And everything literally is in one place. I can run calls in one place. I can have a Q&A in one place. You can post posts like a Facebook feed. You can have a private group. You can have an open group. There's just so much that you can do with it, as well as obviously hosting the modules and the videos and the recordings. So I'm really enjoying Circle, really enjoying updating the Academy and moving it all over. As I say, no more live cohorts of the Academy. But I am looking at creating more of an accessible entry-level offer with the Academy. So if you are newer to business and you are looking for that start, but not necessarily to make the investment in a program that offers live support and coaching, then that could be for you. So please keep an eye out. Also, I have been working behind the scenes on the Quiet Power Mastermind. I adore this mastermind. It is one of the favorite things I've ever done in my business, even though I kicked and screamed and was adamant I would only ever do one-on-one. Actually, doing this mastermind has been hugely expansive for me and for the business in general, and just seeing how people are such an important part of our entrepreneurial journey. I think as introverts, it can be so easy for us to feel like, oh, I just don't want to mix with people, or I can just do it all on my own, or, the beauty of being an introvert is I can just work on my own. And there is that, but gosh, there's something about community and about the energy when people come together, when the right people come together, that just is like pouring rocket fuel on people's businesses, on their mindset, on their results, all of it. It's just beautiful. So I'm super excited for the next cohort of Quiet Power, which is beginning in June. I've got a couple of spots already sold, so there's 4 spaces left at the moment. And if you are looking to scale, if you are at or approaching that fully booked, kind of 100K a year, somewhere around that, and you're like, okay, I'm ready for more. I'm ready to create more revenue, but not at the expense of my life, not at the expense of my values, not at the expense of how much time I spend in my business, then this is the program for you. Now, a couple of things I will say. I will drop the link in the show notes below. The sales page is not up to date. And I'll be very transparent about this. It probably will not be up to date until we launch. And here is why. Since the sales page was created, I have decided to add 2 extremely valuable elements into the mastermind. So first off, I will say this isn't technically a mastermind. It's actually a mastermind one-on-one hybrid, because every person in Quiet Power also gets private one-on-one calls with me. So the first thing that I've added in addition to that is monthly messaging coaching. So I have brought in a phenomenal messaging coach. I am so excited to get her eyes on my client's business, because at this stage, when you are scaling, when you are looking to either reach that next level of client or increase your prices or make an offer that is scalable that you can sell one to many, messaging is key. Being able to speak to the right person through your content effortlessly is key. So having that as consistent support throughout the program is going to be game changing. And secondly, I've added in monthly human design coaching. Now, if you've listened to this podcast for anything more than about 4 episodes, that I adore human design. It's been a foundational part of my business success. It's a huge part of my life. It's not just something that I decided to get a read in and then go, oh, well, that's it. Fine. I'm a generator, whatever, move on. I am deeply into the experiment of human design, deeply into deconditioning with it. And the clients of mine that have adopted it and also embodied it, is probably the best way I can say it, have also seen phenomenal results, not just in their business, but in their life and in their energy. My private clients get a personalized human design reading at the start of our time together, and it's something that we reference back to within their strategy and, all the way through with the mindset and energy pieces. But this is going to be so great for the mastermind, because rather than just having a chart or having a reading and then going off to run with it, you're going to have a certified human design reader there once a month to ask questions that can actually coach you through how to use your design, how to apply it with, depending whatever is going on right then in your business. The thing with this and with the monthly messaging coaching is these are not people coming in to give you a module or a lesson. These are open coaching sessions to meet you exactly where you are at, because yes, Quiet Power is capped at a small number of people, but not everyone is going to be at exactly the same stage of business or need support with this certain thing on, week 5 program. We don't work like that. This is completely bespoke and flexible. So having these opportunities for open coaching alongside the 3 group coaching calls and alongside the one-on-one coaching calls with me as well, I think is going to create an amazingly rounded experience. So super excited for Quiet Power. As I say, June is the next cohort. If this sounds like something that could be a benefit to you in your business, Some of the details are below, not all of them, because it's not updated. And I'll pop the form below as well if you wanted to make an application and we can have a chat about it. I would love to invite you to do that. Okay, what else has changed in April? I have retired my weekly emails. So if you are on my email list, you may have known that I used to send an introvert-friendly roundup every Friday. And I had been doing this. I worked out that I'd sent 142 of these. I'd been doing this since July 2020. And it was a really great way for me to start emailing my list. I kept it simple. I never changed the title. I never changed the format. And it grew and evolved as I had more to say and I'd got things to share like the podcast. And then I started to be able to bring in examples of what I'd worked on with clients, etc. But it really just gave me, when I was in a stage of my business that I could not be consistent. Consistency was the hardest thing for me. And I needed to do that. And I needed to do that not just to create trust from my audience, but I needed to trust myself because at that stage I didn't. And I decided that if I had to write a newsletter from scratch every week and be creative and think of something to write, it wasn't going to happen. I was just able to be honest enough with myself. So I made the roundup and it has served me very well. And thank you if you are one of the people that has read it. Thank you if you're someone that responds to it. I know so many of you have read books that I've recommended in there and it's been really lovely, but it's not right for where I am now and where the business is now. So instead of the weekly emails, I'm actually going to create a much more in-depth monthly roundup email. So this will contain a lot of the same elements. So it'll be sharing what I've been working on. It will be sharing what I'm reading, always sharing what I'm reading. But it will share a little bit more about clients that I'm working with. It will also let me share more about certain tools that I'm using in the business, things that I'm using in life that are working out really well, anything like that, but without me feeling like I'm just sending it every Friday because I've said that I have to send it every Friday. Really, I think it's about quality over quantity. And as I say, in the early days, that made a lot of sense, but now it doesn't. And I would rather give you the experience of, ooh, this is a nice, meaty, in-depth newsletter that I'm going to get once a month. Let me grab a drink and sit down and read it. And that's what I hope is going to happen. And in the same vein, this is actually going to be the final monthly roundup email because, again, I just felt like there'd be too much repetition across the two, and I hate content for content's sake. So I want to make sure that, yes, I'm giving the value, I'm giving the accessibility, I'm giving all the things that you want to hear, but not that I'm just duplicating it across every platform. So after this month, there won't be any more of these, but do hop on the newsletter list. That will be also linked below to make sure that you are subscribed and you will get that monthly roundup email, which will contain all of this kind of stuff, plus much, much more in one introvert-friendly email. I will also be sharing a monthly client case study from May onwards. So this has been in the works for, oh my gosh, I think around a year. If you could see the notes that I have in Notion about what I can share about certain results of clients and how we got to them, you would laugh because I can scroll for pages on these notes. But basically not doing the weekly newsletter is going to give me time to create these. And these are important because testimonials are great. Testimonials are fantastic, but they don't give the whole story. They don't even give a smidge of the story. They give like the last page, basically. You get the ending. So I wanted to bring more detail and more nuance to stories. And I actually wanted to be able to share, some amazing client results, but to say, and this is exactly what we did to get there. Not just like, oh, this client signed up and then they had this amazing result, because that doesn't really help anyone. So there's going to be a lot more context to like, why did they have the result? What went on? What actually went on? What kind of mindset shifts did they have? What did we do with their energy? What did their strategy actually look like? How long did they have to stick at the strategy before they started to see results? All of that stuff. So I'm really excited. I can't speak. Really excited. So excited I couldn't speak. Really excited to share those. And they will also be via email from May onwards. So again, if you are not yet a subscriber, do pop your details in on the link below and sign up, because we'd love to have you there and catching up with the digest at the end of the month and the client case study. So a couple of more personal things that have been going on this month. If you are a regular listener, you will know that rituals is my personal word of the year, and that I committed to a monthly massage. And for April's massage, I decided to combine it with a solo spa day. So I'd not had a spa day in, significantly long time, way before lockdown started. And I was really craving it. And I thought, you know what? I'd hit a financial milestone in the business. So I wanted to take some money out, celebrate that. And I thought, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a spa day, get some treatments, and one of them can be my monthly massage. So that was great. And also the fact that the place I went is about 45 minutes away from here, and I had to navigate the transport, get in there and back. It really put me back into the frame of mind that I would maybe like to have a car again. So if you don't know the story, I sold my car so that I could hire an editor for the podcast. So I had my car. When I left corporate, I was freelancing in Switzerland and then back here for about 3 weeks a month. So I kept the car. And then a few months later, we went into lockdown and there was nowhere to go. So I had this car. It was costing me money each month on a rental. I couldn't go anywhere. I didn't have a job to go to and nothing was open. And I really had to get serious, because after about 6 months of paying for it and not really using it, I thought, is this the best use of my money? And this was coinciding with the podcast being released. And it was coinciding with the fact that I had about 12 episodes batched and I knew they needed editing. And I had to make that call of, is it worth me learning how to edit a podcast? No, was the simple answer, because I was starting to get clients. I knew it was something that would take a lot of time. I am not the best with tech. There would definitely have been tears. There's no doubt I would have cried. And again, it would have given me an excuse not to do it. The podcast would not have gotten released every week if it was relying on me editing it. It was as simple as that. So I sold my car and used the money instead to hire my first podcast editor. And here we are, full circle, 2.5 years later, where I'm like, I might buy a car. Now, in full transparency, I could have afforded a car quite a while ago, but I've quite enjoyed not having one. And I live in a city, I can walk places, I live by the seafront, taxis are very abundant here. But as the world's now opened up and I'm getting back into a new normal of, I could go to the spa, or maybe I want to join a gym that's a bit further away. I actually quite like the idea again of having that freedom. And freedom's one of my core values. So that's where we're at. Looking at buying a car. So keep your eye on the monthly digest email, and I'll be sharing there whether one gets purchased or not. Okay, guys, so that is pretty much my April. Like I say, not so much went on, but a few changes going forwards with the Academy, changes to Quiet Power, changes to the emails, and changes to these Roundup episodes. So thank you for being here as ever. I hope you enjoy the continued programming, which will be full of amazing guests. I have some great guests coming up in the next couple of quarters. So I'm excited to share those with you. Make sure you're on the email list and have a fantastic May. Take care. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Ambitious Introvert Podcast with me, Emma-Louise Parks. If you enjoy this show, please subscribe, rate, and leave a review on iTunes. As a thank you, one lucky reviewer each month will win a 60-minute one-on-one coaching session with me, where you'll get the clarity and confidence to attract your ideal clients. And if you know someone who could benefit from listening to the show, then please do share and help me reach as many fellow ambitious introverts as possible.